Hello everyone and welcome back to the Silicon Nubian YouTube channel where we're all about things tech. Today we're going to take a look at the installation procedure for an Arch derivative which I've had my eye on to take a look at, Antergos Linux version 17.10.10. A little background, Antergos used to be called SynArch. And the purpose of Antergos is to provide a modern, elegant, and powerful operating system based on one of the best Linux distributions available, that being Arch Linux. Users need not to be Linux experts nor developers in order to use Antergos, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. From longtime Linux users to Linux users of only a few months, Antergos is for everyone. Once again, this used to be called SynArch, because it had the Cinnamon desktop as its main graphic user interface. The difference now is that, as we'll see during the installation, now you have a choice of many, with GNOME being the default, by the way. So this is the live disk. Once you start it up, you get an option to either try the OS or install it. So we're going to go straight to the installation. Here we can select our language. We'll stick with English. Here it checks to make sure that we have the proper requirements, at least 8 gigs of storage available, obviously plugged into a power source. Antergos requires that there be an internet connection during installation. So I guess that's so that you can have all these GUI interfaces and it can download the necessary files and updates on the fly. CNCHI is their installer, so that's up to date and everything is good. So let's move forward. Now we select country or territory. I'll select English Canada. Select our time zone, not my city, but that's the proper time zone. We'll give it that. Use network time protocol, NTP for clock synchronization. We'll keep that. Keyboard layout, English Canada. I'll keep that. I could also use English US. It's fine. Here's where it gets interesting. Here we can select the graphic user interface of choice. We have base, which I guess will be nothing. Just a blinking cursor down to the command line. Cinnamon, one of my favorites. GNOME, KDE, Mate, OpenBox, and XFCE. There is no LXDE, but being Arch base, installing that post-installation should not be an issue at all, or any one of the others that aren't mentioned. So we'll stick with GNOME, and we'll give it a go. By the way, this is a very interesting selection screen, something that I think other distributions should consider, so that you can choose from the get-go where you want to be with respect to interacting graphically with your system. So let's continue. Here is something that may not be exactly user-friendly, but we're going to go through it. Arch user repository support, our support. Now, I would leave this to on. That's my preference. Now, for a rank new user to Linux, this would be confusing as it doesn't really tell you much. It does say the AUR, Arch User Repository, is a community-driven repository for Arch users. Basically, what that is a repository apart from the official ones. These are user-supported software that you may not find in the standard repositories. It just opens up your selection of potential software that's available, but it's user-supported, therefore stability issues potentially or availability. But I've found that using the AUR selectively has been very good and is one of the best features of an Arch-based Linux distribution spin. Bluetooth support, I don't need that, but it's good to see that you can turn that on. So after installation, it's already pre-configured. Chromium web browser is on. Firefox web browser can be on as well. Flash plugins, it allows you to have Flash set up for you, so let's go on. Long-term support kernel and modules, you can turn that on or off depending on what you want. LibreOffice, a lot of distributions that I've looked at recently have that installed by default, which I think is a great thing to do. Here we can turn that on. Printing support on. SSH service would be off. Steam and Play on Linux could be on or off. Let's put that on. An uncomplicated firewall, control the incoming, outgoing network traffic. We can turn that on. So we have a selection here. Now this I wouldn't call exactly complete newbie friendly, but for those who've had a few months playing around with Linux, this should not be a problem. Move forward. And it'll say uncomplicated firewall will be installed with these rules. Okay. Allow SSH, allow transmission, allow from this, allow from default, deny. Okay, so we got that set up. Arch repository disclaimer. The Arch user repository is a collection of user-submitted package builds that supplement software available from the official repositories, as I've mentioned before. The AR is community-driven and not supported by Arch or Antergos, so you gotta know what you're getting yourself into. Now we go into the partitioning phase. And erase disk and install Antergos. And warning, of course, this will erase all your data. Encrypt the installation. Use LVM. Use ZFS with this installation. Interesting. Set your home in a different partition volume, which is something that I like to do. And choose exactly where Antergos should go. That's if you want to run the manual partitioner. And I need help in Antergos Windows dual boot setup, which I never do anymore. I used to run dual boot systems, but now I just run dedicated. But your mileage may vary. So I'm going to use the erase disk and install Antergos since it's going on its own disk. And the system will only be running this distribution. Warning, this will overwrite everything on your drive. Select the drive. The drive has been selected. Use this device for the bootloader installation. Okay, and then we have a LUKS password. Of course, that's grayed out. Let's go. So here we have a summary of everything we've chosen. Canada, Toronto is my time zone, English, layout, GNOME, Arch user repository, Firefox, uncomplicated web browser, everything is set up. And from here, one more warning box. Are you really sure you want to continue? Yes. Create your name, computer's name, and pick a user's name. So here we go. Just enter some data in. I would use a different password, but for the sake of this video, I'm using something quite simple. We can show the password, we can log in automatically, required my password to log in, which I leave anyways. Then we click on save. And there we are. The installation has started. So that is the installation of Antergos Linux. What I'm going to do after the installation is finished, I will come back and we'll just take a quick look at the desktop and we'll save the overview and review of this Linux distribution, Arch-based Linux distribution, for another video. So we'll be right back. Okay, and here we have it, post-installation. Installation took about 20 minutes, which is a little bit longer than usual for the Linux distributions I've looked at lately, which usually hover around 7 to 15 minutes. But it did have to probably install the whole GUI and download a lot. It did download a lot of files, so you're at the mercy of your transfer rates and the server ability to give you that fast connection. That being said, we have it installed, and I'm going to take a look at this now. Uh-oh, here we go. Look at that. There we go. Sorry about that. And we log in. And this should bring us up to the GNOME desktop. And there we go. So installation was successful. Everything is working fine. And in the next video, we're going to take a look at this distribution a lot more closely. This Arch-based Antergos Linux. And we'll see you next time. Take care and thanks for watching.